Nityanandam Dharmasukharam Kevalam Jnanamurtim Dvandvatitam Gaganasarisham Tattvamasyadilaksham Ekam Nityam Vimalamachalam Sarvadhi Sakshibhutam Bhavatitam Triganaraitam Sadgurum Tam Namami. Nityanandam, this is Sri Nityanananda Maharaj for the Cooking Up Bhakti for the Bhagashastra YouTube show and live station from the English Kalpataru page. Ashutosh Maharaj is not here right now. He's gone to Tiruvannamalai. So Swamiji does a monthly Kalpataru boon granting program in Tiruvannamalai, which is his hometown. So the world's largest Shiva temple is there, the Arunachala Hill. And so every month, approximately 1 million people gather to circumambulate the holy Mount Arunachala. So that village has been the home to Shiva in 3 forms of the hill and the Shivalinga and the living master for more than the past 2,000 years. So Swamiji also comes from that lineage. So a lot of the Aranam has shifted to go there, and we'll be continuously serving the Sattvic Bhagashastra food there also every month, and in that day serving approximately 100,000 meals. So it's a wonderfully busy and fun time where 1 million people gather every single month in an unplanned event with the intention of worshipping Lord Shiva, Mahadev, Sarashiva, and no crime happens, and there's no planning or security system. So it's something that you'd be hard pressed to find anywhere, especially in the Western world, which is where I come from, and that's what I thought I would do today. Since Ashutosh Maharaj is not here, I would introduce a little bit about myself. So I'm coming from Canada basically, and I am a certified elementary school teacher in the French province of Canada called Quebec. I also studied and work as a computer engineering technologist for General Electric software, and we worked on some of the control systems that control the launch pad for NASA's shuttle launches. Basically, I got that job soon after college, and to me it was not a promotion. To move into an office environment where you had to go there every day for 8 hours a day, that was not a promotion for me. From the change from high school and university or college, when we were having fun with friends and playing sports and whatnot, and studying and learning what we wanted to. And so it was not a promotion. So I thought, what have I been doing for the past 20 years? If this is what I'm working towards, then what is the next thing I'm working towards? And I realized basically I was on the path to that most of society is supporting, promoting for people, that you get a job, you get married, you have kids, you get a couple promotions, your kids get older, your kids have kids, you retire, you have the grandkids, and then you die. And I just thought, what is the point of that? My plan for life should be more than death. And so I started thinking about what to do and where to find this out. And so I decided to go to university. That for me was the natural step. Finding out what to do with your life, you go and get an education. So I studied in Montreal, which is a bilingual city in Canada, for 6 years in university, with the purpose essentially of trying to find out my purpose. And what I realized was that university was not able to deliver that. They were not able to deliver the experience, and they didn't have the people who lived what they were teaching. there always came a limit to what the professor or the group could answer in terms of their experience and their ability to live things, where then your life just became a theoretical possibility. And so I returned to the western part of Canada after 6 years in the eastern part of Canada with the intention of getting a kind of community service job that I had been planning through my training as a educational specialist. But when I had the interview for the job that I wanted, I realized that I didn't want the job, and I had to ask myself why. And I realized there were some things in university, some questions that I had and some experiences that I had through a couple meditations that I did. I wanted to try to answer what that was about, but I didn't know where to go. And so I started asking, where do you go after education? What is the next thing? Is there anything else? And I thought, what is the biggest ideas that humans have? And I thought, oh yes, there's the religion that the humans have. And so I started looking into mainly the three main religions, like Hinduism, Buddhism, what I thought were the three main religions: Christianity, Buddhism, and Islam. In university, I had a lot of experience with Muslim people, and so I already knew quite a bit about that lifestyle, actually, in the culture. And I had taken a class on Buddhism, and I always kind of felt a connection with Buddha and Buddhism, and so I had that. And I grew up with a little Christianity, so I kind of was already familiar with most of the staleness that I had experienced. So I started doing a little meditation, and I got a full-time evening job, so I could spend most of the days doing whatever I wanted to do. So I started implementing a somewhat spiritual routine as far as I could understand it. And following that, so what happened was I started listening, basically. So a lot of things in my life that were not supporting listening started to fall off. I basically played ice hockey for about 30 years, and that sort of went away because it requires that you are carrying violence. So I wasn't able to maintain that. And I was looking for something, and I had this word in my head, ringing in my head for some reason. When I asked myself, what should I do, where should I go, I had this word ringing in my head called Gita. And I wasn't quite sure what it was, but I started searching on the internet, and I found a Bhagavad Gita from the Hare Krishna movement and Srila Prabhupada. So I read and studied that book. I read the whole book and practiced it it took me about 1 year, around 8 months. So I had a few experiences, and at the end of that, I was stuck trying to find out where to look. So that was around 2008. And I thought, where should I go now? Is there anyone else living these things like Srila Prabhupada was living them and teaching them? Is there anyone else who lives like that? I didn't know masters existed at that time. So I did a search. I did a search on YouTube for like spiritual masters, and Kumela came up. And I thought, okay, so there was one Kumela video, and in the side pane was another video. It happened to be a Swamiji video, and I clicked on it. And what the video that it was Swamiji was coming in a white truck, and the door opened, and he got out, and he was holding a scepter, and he was leading some kind of a chant. And well, I thought it was a serial, like a sitcom, like not a sitcom, but a serial, a TV show. I thought it was a dramatic TV show because he looked so happy. I just thought it has to be fake, because literally that's what I thought. He was smiling when he was in the truck, and as he got out, he was smiling. And he was walking around smiling, and I was pretty clear that it couldn't have been a real recording. It must have been like staged for television. And that was what I knew about life at that time, that no one can be that happy. And so he was leading some kind of a cheer, and I thought, okay, this is something. And he started speaking, and then one of the next videos I saw was an interview he did with, I think her name was Anne Broccoli in Seattle, with a show I think she did called Living in Seattle. And Swamiji said that anyone could come and study in India for free for a year. And I thought, that's exactly what I want. So I just missed the cutoff deadline there in September of 2008. So I went to get some videos from the library and followed those things. And then in January of 2009, I decided to attend my first meditation program, which I had been avoiding for about a year doing my own practice. I didn't want to get trapped into some kind of religion or practice that I couldn't get out of, that was controlling me. And I ended up traveling for about 8 hours overnight after Friday evening at work, and arriving in the morning for Saturday morning for the 2-day program, which was the Life Bliss program at that time, and started doing the meditations. I had some profound experiences, and 2 months later went to Vancouver in Canada and physically met Swamiji, and that's really when things, like my whole kind of world really changed. My whole understanding of what life was changed, because what my understanding was basically was broken through the experiences that Swamiji gave in that week. I couldn't explain them, but until that time I was doing Nitya Dhyan every day, and when I went back home and started doing Nitya Dhyan, the energy and the experiences were so much more intense that I quit doing the meditation also, because I didn't know what was going on. I didn't know what a spiritual experience was, but they were happening to me. So it was about 4 months after that, one of the Swamiji's teachers came to my town and was teaching a class, so I went there and spoke to him. And previously, when I had physically met Swamiji, he initiated me as a healer, and through the Ananda Ganda initiation, and that was a beautiful experience. Basically, I looked inside and saw this most beautiful thing. I started crying, and then the click happened in me, beyond understanding actually, and beyond knowing, that I knew that most beautiful thing that I was looking at was me. So that was, again, another profound change. And like I said, I quit doing the meditation for 4 months after that, and then I went to the evening lecture, and when I was talking to the teacher, the Ananda Ganda experience came back in me, and I thought, oh my God, that's an undying flower that's alive in me. But I haven't been paying attention to it at all since I had the initiation. What if I started paying attention to it, and then what would happen? And so that's what I wanted to do. So Swamiji had a Kalpataru program in Vancouver about a month after that, so I went for that. And when it was my turn for darshan, I stood in front of Swamiji, and the only thing he's ever asked of me, which is just one of the indications really of his integrity and authenticity, and his enriching nature, the only thing that he's ever asked of me, he never even like, how are you, what is your name, he's not asking anything from anyone, he's just giving. And what he said to me is there anything you'd like to tell me? And I said, I'd like to study with you. And he said, I'll take care. And at that time, that was the word that I knew that meant that it's done. And literally, when he said that, tears jumped out of my eyes, and I fell into his shoulder, and I'm sure the tears that jumped out of my face must have landed on his cloth before my forehead did. And I'm sure I just left him soaking. I don't know how it happened, but that's what I remember. And so I knew I would go, and so I ended up going in November of 2009 for 3 months for the Life Bliss Engineering. And on the second last day of the Inner Awakening, that was December 1st to 21st, so on December 19th, I was walking around this Adinam, really worried. It was the best place I'd been. It was the best thing I've ever done. I knew it was the best thing, and I knew I had the solution and everything. But I hadn't really recognized a major click until that point of what was going on. But on the 19th day, I was walking around really worried about, when this program ends, what am I going to do? And I thought, how can you be in paradise, knowing it's paradise, be so worried about something that you never worried about before? And I realized what it was, that I didn't feel like I needed to do anything else. And that was the difference. I always felt like I had to achieve something, I had to do the next thing, I had to do something bigger and better. You had to go on a vacation, you had to get a boat, you had to get some vehicle, you had to get some promotion. I always felt like the way that my life would go is that something that I was doing would have to become to the next thing. So after this experience in Inner Awakening, it was like I was very clear that there was nothing that I had to do in my life. There was nothing else I had to achieve. And that's why the worry was there, because I had this visualization of me. At that time I was living in a basement suite that a friend of mine was owning. I was staying there. And I had this visualization of me of sitting at that, I didn't drink coffee at the time, but I had this visualization of me sitting in the basement in the kind of cold in the dark with a cold cup of coffee, just doing nothing for the next 60 years. And I just realized, wow, really, like deep inside of me, there's a deep knowing that you don't have to do anything. that every answer for everything is inside of you. And I had those experiences beyond food, beyond the need to go to the bathroom, beyond pain. If you look inside, I had experienced all those things disappearing. So that really just showed me that something had changed. So I knew my whole life had changed, and then basically since then it's just been aligning to it. At first I thought I could stay in the society, but it just was not enough. I kept coming back, and I took the brahmacharya initiation basically in September 2015 at Nasik Kumela, and since then it's been wonderful. And the last few months have been especially wonderful after I had some experience in the Sacred Arts campus, which is the location that is basically producing and providing and supplying all the items needed for 400 temples worldwide. And so spending some time in Gurukul after that, and with Nityananda TV and with the Raj Sabha team. So that's kind of a story about where I've come from and how I decided to become Adi Navasi. Is, I mean, I knew before I ever met Swamiji physically that he could do anything I wanted. He could do anything for me that I wanted. He could make anything happen. Whether what he said was true, even if I didn't understand it. I watched about 650 videos, every video that was existing at that time on YouTube, and I estimate I probably watched about 2,100 videos. So I watched each one approximately four times, just to make sure if I didn't understand something, I would just watch it again and again. So that's it. So that's some of how where I've come from, and how I've met Swamiji. And how I decided to become Adi Navasi basically was, I knew it was the best thing. I just went back to settle some of my finances and my living situation, and I was always planning to come back. I always basically knew that this was the best thing. It's just deciding that you're going to allow your life to align in any way necessary, or that it wants to what the best thing is. So that was a pretty simple decision. As a volunteer, you kind of continuously have break times. Really, as an Adi Navasi, where you don't have breaks, is much better, because you can't avoid the patterns. Even if you try to hold on to them for about a month, they will just break on their own after that, because it becomes so intense. So you get a lot more liberation, I find, even if you're resisting. And the more that you stop resisting, like I've done in the last few months, it gets a lot easier, a lot more, and it's just fun now. Now that Swamiji is making us manifest Shaktis and stuff, that you can enact these super conscious powers, it's just pure fun. Everyone in this room is manifesting these powers, like, you know, understanding ourselves as regular people, becoming super conscious beings and manifesting super conscious powers, the Shaktis. So, as we understand, the purpose of Swamiji's mission is to basically occupy the entire world with super conscious beings. So the super conscious beings existing all over the planet. And so that's my understanding of the Bhagashastra show and the channel, is that we're causing that to become the reality on Earth, that these super conscious beings are occupying the entire planet through Bhagashastra. So through the science and the word from Sadashiva of how to use food as a medicine, a science of procuring and creating and consuming food and sharing food. So something that we do every day with a lot of unconsciousness and unawareness of what is the purpose of our life. So the Bhagashastra is directly aligned and from the source to align us to becoming super conscious beings, to live in accordance with that, with integrity to our needs of sustaining the body and sharing food. As sharing food in Hinduism is a huge part of what we do, that we're enriching everyone, giving everyone the conscious growth through even the basic necessity of food. If you want enlightenment, we'll give you that. If you only want one dosa, we'll give you that. So whatever is needed to cause each person's reality, that's what Hinduism provides. So that's the unique quality of Hinduism, that we accept any and all gods. And there's essentially nothing that you have to accept, even though Swamiji has said the one thing common amongst all sampradayas is the Brahma Muhurta time, that morning waking time, and for us the 5-hour routine. Just following that will take care of all your incompletions and lead you to liberation. And Swamiji has also said that just keeping a clean stomach can get you enlightened. So the Bhagashastra is not that a clean stomach needs to be an empty stomach, but it should be that all the food that you consume goes directly into being used for causing yourself as a superconscious being and causing others as a superconscious being. So in this way, the food will be completely digested and completely used for causing superconscious beings to occupy the entire planet. So this is what, and the entire cosmos actually. So this is the blessing of working through this channel and the Bhagashastra to be aligned to Swamiji's mission and causing superconscious beings to occupy the planet through the science of Bhagashastra and the science of food preparation and sharing and consumption. So Ashutosh Maharaj is not here, so I've gone on a little bit long, so we'll just close for today, and we'll be live from Tiruvannamalai tomorrow. Ashutosh Maharaj will be there for Nityananda TV, and we will continue to, of course, post updates, and as soon as we can share some of the recipes that we're finding and more about our understandings of the Bhagashastra itself and its delivery from Sadashiva and what it means in our lives and how it helps us. So this beautiful delivery that relates very closely to sattvic food, of course organic food, even that kind of veganism, so like a zero footprint life, and not disturbing any of the living conscious beings whose biomemory will be passed to their next lives, but really a sattvic way of sustaining the body with its own needs without disturbing the purpose and conscious experience and growth of other beings on the planet. So thank you so much for joining us. We're very excited, and Ashutosh Maharaj wanted to complete with everyone that he really wanted to be here. He literally was running out the door just as we were starting here, and so we're really looking forward to really sharing and learning and delivering a lot more, and very excited about the Bhagashastra itself and the live shows and sharing on this channel and expanding it to Facebook and Nityananda TV, and make sure that everyone who has an interest in food, whether it be veganism or vegetarianism or even things like bodybuilding, that we can share what is the science from the word of Sadashiva for creating yourself and others as superconscious beings, how to do that, manifesting the Shaktis of Sadashiva. So thank you so much for joining, and we'll see you again tomorrow at 1 p.m. Indian Standard Time. As of now, live on the English Kalpataru TV YouTube channel. And thank you again for joining us. We'll see you tomorrow. We'll close today with the Purna Mantra. So Purna Mantra is a declaration of our intention and our understanding from the source of oneness, that we all come from the source of oneness. Even that we come as unique expressions out of that oneness, we still exist in oneness. All our expression happens in the space of oneness, and when we return from this oneness, we return back into the oneness that remains as oneness. Even though we have come out of it as an expression of oneness, it remains as oneness, and all of us exist in the space of oneness, which is where the Shakti is expressed from, through the blessings of Sadashiva, with whom, of whom you can see the physical image in the background here, and every morning live on Facebook, YouTube, Nityananda TV, and other stations, as Swamiji continues to deliver the causing of superconscious beings to occupy the entire planet and cause the reality of the entire cosmos, and creating the superconscious shift to the superconsciousness itself. A unique and almost impossible statistical possibility for us to live physically with him while he is here. But it's just one more of the seemingly miracles that happens every day in our life, like this room full of people expressing Shaktis, making international phone calls, demonstrating mind over matter power, doing remote body scanning, remote viewing, and expressing all these Shaktis through the telephone. or over the telephone. So thank you once again, and we will see you again tomorrow. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Tat Sat. Sarvam Sadguru Parkar Punamastu. Om Nityanandam. Nityanandam.